This episode is brought to you by the Old Dominion Athletic Foundation. Because of you, we create winners in the classroom, in athletic competition, and in life. Become a member today.
Hello, Monarch fans, and welcome to the Hudson Homers podcast. Coming to you today, sadly, with the season wrap-up. We'll talk stadium updates, portal, selection show going on, all that good stuff. But CB, Finny, how's it going?
It's good to be here. Happy Memorial Day, everyone. Remembering all our veterans and people that lost their lives to let us do stuff like this.
Yeah, honestly.
Certainly.
Yep.
Yeah.
CB, are you recovered from your bus ride back as well?
I'm recovered. My back is not recovered. That will be a thing for next year. And since you mentioned that, I mean, again, let me just make sure we mention, huge thank you to, Finny, ODU baseball. I mean, like Ryan Moore and Brandon Pond for taking care of me during the time, all the coaches, everybody, Pierce Yarberry, Eric Bohannon, the Monarchist guys, making sure, I got getting to go down on the bus with the guys and the bus back. I mean, yeah, my actual physical back is not happy about it, but my heart is happy about it. It was a fun. I mean, obviously the results weren't what we wanted, but getting to do it was great. And the fact these guys always make me feel like part of the team, part of the family is, you can't ask for much more. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, it was great to have you, and now you get to see what it's like to be a college baseball player. Long bus trips and Chick-fil-A, right?
Yeah. I think my 20-year-old back would have handled it better.
and Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's. I've never been to Buc-ee's before. That was
there
good.
You go. Can't say that anymore.
Yeah, there you go.
It's always a staple on that trip for sure.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you got to check that box, CB, finally, and welcome to the Buc-ee's Club.
I managed not to buy like a shirt or a stuffed animal or anything.
Aww.
I just, got some food and left like a normal person.
Yeah, at that point, you're getting ready to hit the last leg of the journey home.
Yeah.
You're just in survival mode.
Yeah. No, it was definitely like, okay, something to fuel the body here, and let's get going.
Yeah, you all had a good trip down there as well. And I stayed the first night in Charlotte and then drove down to Auburn where I met up with you and got to see Auburn's facilities, use the field for the workout. That place is amazing there.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's always fun to, see friends that are still there from my time there, and then to see what they've, added on and just kept building that facility. They really feel like it's become the atmosphere there has become a lot tougher place to play, and since they've done the renovations, and I think we got to go up and look in the offices and all that.
Yeah,
those, so that's really cool too, and I think that bodes well being a tougher place to play because they're gonna get to host the first two rounds of the regionals if they win. So that's a good way to get to Omaha, and they've got a team good enough to do it. So
the offices were wild because it looks like any like corporate office. It's not like you think of like baseball office. It's some dingy hole in the wall with some but it was very much like sleep. Yeah, right. Like frankly, I mean, lunch pail. Packing your own lunch. This is very much like let me check my Roth IRA after the meeting. Like it was it's very sleek. That was interesting.
Yeah, they're brand new, so they've been under construction with different things there for a while, and I think they've just gotten in them this spring, actually. So that when they built that building that their offices and the weight room are in. When I was there, initially that was Dr. Andrews, James Andrews, building.
Tommy John guy.
Yeah, that's where he worked out of in Auburn. That was his Auburn office, and rehab center, and all of that. And then the weight room was where it is now, and his offices were upstairs. So, yeah, it's pretty cool what they've been able to do with that space. And I guess they needed all the space over, in the stadium where our offices used to be for new locker room and those types of things. So they moved it all around, and they're making it work. That's for sure. So I'm looking forward to watching them this weekend coming up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely rooting for them. Nunny and our guys, we were watching them on the bus ride back. That's for sure.
Yep. They had a good run, man. To get beat by Arkansas 2-1 in the semifinals. I think with all the rain they had in that tournament, it was a little disjointed as well as the Sun Belt. So, but they didn't hurt themselves. I think even if they won the tournament, they were not going to be higher than a national 4 seed. Oh my gosh. When you're talking UCLA, Georgia Tech, and Georgia are the only ones in front of them. So they did pretty well.
Yeah, and it was wild in Montgomery after we got out of there because you just had delays every single day. They ended up playing games down at Troy just to get the games in. So they actually had simultaneous games going on. And they finally got it back. And of course, Southern Miss wins the championship. But I know that was a nightmare to probably manage. And I feel like every conference tournament in the Southeast got smoked this week with weather.
Yeah, I felt that way. I don't think the tournament could have worked out any better for the league, though, the way it did work out. I mean, probably everything that could happen to help get 5 teams into the tournament, and those teams played their way into it, certainly. But it did happen, and, it was great. Texas State felt like got that last spot, maybe over teams like Texas San Antonio and Mercer and some of those teams that are, when you get down to the last 4 or 5 in, all of them are deserving, and the first 4 or 5 out are also deserving. We've been in that boat, and it's heartbreaking, but they got to leave somebody out, and I think that's the hard part of it.
Yeah, it's great for the league. I mean, it's the first time ever having 5 in, and it really just keeps proving that. I think I saw this as 4 of the last 5 years that we've had more than the Big Ten. I mean, it's a Power 4 conference in baseball for sure.
Yep, absolutely. And showed it again this year, and it's big time baseball in the Sun Belt Conference, no doubt about that.
It was a battle to get through the end because nobody made it easy. I mean, there were a lot of extra inning games, high scoring games, wild comebacks, things like that. I mean, I think maybe sitting in the league, we thought maybe the league's not as good this year, but I think in reality, there just weren't 2 teams that were like fully far away from the rest of the pack, but like 3, 4, and 5 were just murderous row again.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about, Louisiana finishing 7th, tied 6th, they were a 7th seed. But when you're talking about they were as hot as any team in the league coming down the stretch, and they showed that in the tournament, certainly. Texas State was really streaky. It was like they got swept a couple times, and they swept a bunch of people, and, and then they played good in the tournament, and, it was one of those deals. I mean, it's outside of a couple teams, I don't think there were that many teams in our league that could say they, Coastal and Southern Miss probably, but they could say they didn't get swept the whole year. So, we were in that boat certainly.
Yeah, and we know VCU up the road from us won the A10 tournament to get in, and we have 2 wins over them this year. I guess, Finny, you've kind of been on both sides of the equation now. Like you've been in a league that's kind of one bid, but you can go win the tournament. And now we're in the Sun Belt, which is, I think, the 4th best conference in college baseball. And we're kind of on the outside looking in, but I would prefer the bigger conference, but I was curious your thoughts on that.
Well, it changed. I mean, we were only in the CAA for 2 years when I was here. So, in the first year we were terrible. And the second year, we finished 2nd or 3rd and weren't eligible for the tournament.
Weren't allowed, yeah.
So, but when you're in a league like that, you can play. It all comes down to how you're playing over those 4 days, man, and how much pitching depth you got, and who gets hot, and all those things. And when you're in a league like the Conference USA or Sun Belt, it can come down to the tournament. Still really matters whether you win it or not. Sometimes you got to win it. But whether you win it or not, playing well in the tournament obviously matters to the committee. You mentioned how Mercer got whacked twice at the end by Citadel, and obviously they held that against them. And so you do need to play. They are definitely putting stars on the teams that play well in their conference tournament, without a doubt.
Which makes sense because, frankly, you're trying to put on a good show in the big tournament you're about to have. So if a team can do well in a tournament, it makes sense.
Yeah, and in conferences, this is the argument. In the SEC, yeah, single elimination makes all the sense in the world. You win, you advance, you lose, you go home. Most of the teams are going home to get ready for, a regional, either going or hosting. But it showed up this year in a conference like the Sun Belt, where the RPIs for a lot of those are going to be in that range where if we can beat a couple more good teams, I mean, you look at Troy, they were like 45 or something going into the conference tournament and ended up, 34?
It helped.
They were slam dunk. Louisiana was, somewhere in that range as well. So if you play well, you can definitely play your way into a better at-large position. No question about that.
Yeah, I definitely think I would rather be in a league where there's multiple opportunities, like the Sun Belt or the SEC or the ACC, and there weren't too many more than that were better than us in the Big 12.
Yep. There's no doubt. Yeah, you definitely want that, and you want to be able to build. We didn't get it done this year, but the hard part with the scheduling is scheduling. You're scheduling 2-3 years in advance. And, you're scheduling based on some history. We actually had this year some other teams a couple of years ago that were going to come in. Northeastern was one of them.
Oh, yeah.
And then when they, found out the stadium wasn't going to be done, they did something else. So there were some circumstances and then you're scrambling and trying to fill it and things like that. So, you want to have a non-conference schedule that's good enough to help you, not hurt you, because the league schedule is always going to help you as good as the league.
Yeah.
So, and our midweeks definitely help us. They don't hurt us. East Carolina, UVA, VCU, William and Mary, Richmond, they're all usually in the boat where they're not going to hurt you too much. I mean, the reality of it is I hate it, but we can't play Norfolk State twice in a year. This year just because, but it's just something. Those are the things you have to pay attention to.
I think our lowest point for RPI this year was after we beat Norfolk State. I think that was what we were in, like the 230s or something like that. And then
I think we were 285 after a loss against UConn back way early. Ooh. So yeah, but I think you're right. Those weren't helping.
No, and then we end up, pretty much right around the 100 mark going towards the end of the season. That just kind of balanced it out just based on the Sun Belt schedule. Well, we talked a little bit about the stadium. Would love to know if there's any updates there. It seems like, fingers crossed, timelines are back on schedule for the new schedule.
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
Is it normal schedule or our construction company schedule? Yeah, so talking with Rick French last week, he said we're in the ballpark of the first and second week in June for our lockers coming in, getting installed in the locker room, which that'll be really cool. Then they can finish the rest of that. And then also the decking and seats company will be here starting on those two projects. So that'll be a big thing, both in and out. Getting the decking and stairs and 2,000 Navy chairbacks in, the railings and all of those things that'll make that seating bowl start to look finished. They're supposed to come in next week and start taking down all the temporary stuff we had for this season, the bleachers in the outfield, and then also the golf press box, the golf cube.
Ted's perch.
Yeah, so they'll get rid of that, get those out of here and get those spaces all cleaned back up. They'll take down the temporary black windscreen fencing we had up top there that was shielding the white steel. That'll come down. And so, I'll just get back to being a construction site up there. And then at some point this summer, I think it'll be after the seats are done and the press box is done, they'll put the permanent net up. The permanent backstop net up, so that will all look much more finished. And We've already gotten rid of the temporary padding in front of the dugouts, and the only temporary padding that's still there is the stuff behind home plate, because that's what the net's attached to.
Yeah.
So we'll have that in place this summer for camps and tournaments and things like that until they get to the space where they can put that permanent net up, which I don't have any idea when that is. And then
is all the outfield seating going, or is it just the one on all of it's going?
All of it's going. Yeah, that was all built temporary, and I think it was nice of them to say, "Hey, if we like it, maybe we'll keep it." You know. Yeah. I was born that night,
fair.
but it wasn't last week. And I can remember when they put it in. One of the project managers on campus, I can't remember his name right now, but he's an Australian gentleman. And it was raining one day. I was standing in a dugout, and it was right before, kind of a week before we opened up. We were pulling the tarp or something, and he was walking down there, and I asked him, I said, that looks really nice, man. It's just about done. And he goes, yeah, it's just about done. It'll be ready for, the opener. And I said, man, that really looks cool. It'd be nice to keep it. He said, oh, you'll never be able to keep that, mate.
That sucks.
He goes, that's still temporary. He goes, to have outfield seating like that, they'd have to tear all that down and put it in the ground.
Wow.
That never passed code for, being a permanent structure. So that was
there's a goal for the future, I guess. Just, be amazing, fill the place up.
It was cool, but I don't think we'll need it. I think it's going to be so many more awesome spaces. And I really do think, and this is down the road, though, it would be cool to open those corners up on both sides, probably about 100, 150 feet, and have tailgate spots out there where people can bring their trucks in, bring their grills, lawn chairs, kind of like Mississippi State did years ago. And you just sell the spots, and it's just free inventory, I think that could be something. Hopefully, that'd be something maybe we can look at doing down the road.
That would be a pretty good usage of that space too on game days. You get me excited watching the grill smoke come over, but
yeah. I can remember days at Mississippi State, man, in the old stadium. You'd look out there sometimes. I'd be out there trying to tell the left fielder where to play, and you couldn't see him. I'd be like, hey, where is he? He's like in a fog of hamburger smoke.
He's floating away on the hot dog smoke there.
Yeah. And the guy come running in the dugout from defense, smelled like hot dog water.
I've been Guzzo's favorite player.
Yeah. So those are some things we can work on down the road, that I think would be exciting.
Yeah, I think fans will be excited to get Rally Alley back open, and then new offerings are going to be available in the new stadium are going to be awesome too. So still a lot of things to look forward to, but never bad to kind of what's the next phase in the process. Well, fill all these seats and maybe we'll put some in the outfield again.
Could happen. That's the beauty of it, right? Demand creates what you need, and we start getting good crowds, and obviously a nice ballpark is going to help with that. A good team is going to help with that, and those are the two main things you got to get to, and then people start coming. And good weather.
And good weather.
Yeah, that's always the thing. You can't fight being 30, 40 degrees the first month.
And there's a lot of people with good ballparks and good teams.
Yeah.
When you go play them on bad weather, there ain't nobody there. So.
No.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
So, Finny, one thing I know when you guys you finish the season here, one of the things that people may not realize you guys do exit interviews with your players. That you have pretty much everybody comes in. You have the kind of like it's not really one-on-one. It's kind of the player and the coaches. Can you talk to us a little bit about like what goes on in those meetings?
Sure. Yeah. Well, they fall under a couple different categories. I think one of the categories is players that you don't think are going to be able to stay here and play in your program. And those guys, it's always been my belief that you need to let them know that as soon as possible, as honestly as possible. And I always try to come at it from a position of here's what I think. Here's what we think. How can we help? If you want our help, we're here for you. You're a good kid. You worked hard. It's just not going to work out, or for whatever reason. Sometimes there's a kid that maybe didn't do what he was supposed to academically, and he needs to leave for that reason. We had one of those this year, unfortunately. Now, having said that, we also had the second highest team GPA in the history of ODU baseball.
That's
most
nice.
players ever on the dean's list in one semester.
Could have been the highest.
Yeah. That sucker. So yeah, he stood out. You know, he was an outlier on the wrong side of the thing on a group of guys that did fantastic. I think we had 4 guys in the whole program that got under a 3.0 this semester.
Wow.
So and
That's
like
not...
you got to have a 3.4 or better for Dean's List, and we had I think we had 27 or something like that did.
And when you consider the baseball schedule, that's pretty impressive.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, well, and it says a lot about the types of students we have, the types of families we have, and also what a great job Amy Lynch does, our academic advisor. So she's a rock star, and seems like every year she's coming up with, this is the best we've ever done. This is the best we've ever done. So, and recruiting good students matters to us. Yeah. When you recruit them out of high school and they have a certain academic profile, they get some academic money, which helps their families, add to help them pay for school. So, and then there's some accountability in there because you have to keep a certain GPA to keep it. And so those things are nice. When the players know they got accountability here from the coaches and at home from mama, they do better. That's the way I've always looked at it. So, so a kid that's leaving, we have rarely had a kid leave because he was a troublemaker, but that would be the other category of a kid that's got to go, maybe, that way. But so usually it's just, hey, 1 or 2 years. Rarely is a guy around more than that, and you don't want him to come back, but it just didn't work out. We think you're going to be better off, and sometimes it's the coach's decision. Sometimes it's the player's decision. Hey, I want to play more, and that's perfectly fine. We understand that, and sometimes it's more of a let's talk about this, and here's the reality of it. Sometimes those meetings start with, I want to come back. I want to, play more and and you get into, are you going to be okay having this same conversation a year from now with the same amount of opportunities? And they're like, no. Okay, that's what we're talking about now. So you got to try to help them. It's never easy, man. And I mean, I've been the bad guy on this for 35 years, so I get it. I just, some days on those exit meeting days when you have the tough ones, you walk out and hope your truck tires aren't slashed. And I'm not making light of a tough situation. I know with some kids, I mean, these are life decisions, and we take all of that seriously. And I think it is important to be honest. I think some people let this thing just go, and because they don't want to either deal with it and they just want the kids to cut themselves. What you end up with then is a bunch of guys that are disgruntled and unhappy in your program, and that emanates over into the overall team energy. I actually think we had a couple guys in the sophomore class that were like that this year, personally, and it bothered me. Why, and then as I evaluate what I need to do better, I sit there and go, why didn't you get rid of them last year? Like, why, you knew this was a possibility. So anyway, that would be the reasons, a kid would come in and, have to go in the transfer portal. And of course, nowadays the portal doesn't open up till next week, but you see them all putting their stuff out on Twitter and Instagram. And isn't it funny that every kid that goes in the portal, every pitcher throws 92 to 95.
Yeah.
Every hitter's got 105 exit velocity. And I was like, come on, guys. Every coach is this
It's like, don't ask how many of those were for strikes, those 95s.
Yeah. So they do it. They're trying to help themselves.
Yeah.
We always come at it from the viewpoint of, if you want us to help, we'll be glad to help. if you start bad mouthing us, we're not going to help you. So
Yeah.
we didn't do anything wrong. We gave you an opportunity. It didn't work out. That's life. This is a performance-based industry. For me, for the coaches, for the players, so is life. You get it done or somebody else comes and gets it done. And that's the reality of it. The players wanted this system. You know, this system wasn't in place 5, 6, 7 years ago. You could hang in there with a guy longer. You couldn't get another one. And they couldn't go anywhere and play. They fought for this. This is why the coaches, you know, this is how we're trying to survive and flourish within this system. So we're all trying to work it the best way we know how. And sometimes the other side of that is sometimes a player comes in and had a good year and decides the grass is greener and he wants to go give it a shot in the portal at a bigger school, you know. Sometimes that player's getting recruited while he's playing for you and offered money. You should hear the war stories I hear about that.
I can only imagine.
It keeps you up at night, actually. You know, there's a kid not in our conference, but in our state, who was a really good player. We played against them twice. He had a really good year, and we were hearing that, you know, a school in a big, you know, Power 5 school, Power 4 school was offering him, you know, through his advisors or whoever, like $200,000, like while the season's going on, to go there next year.
Right, which is crazy.
Yeah, and we can't compete in those areas. No. You know, the thing that's interesting, and I find I like to think of myself as a lifelong learner. I want to constantly be interested in learning. All these negotiations are newer to me. It used to be here's your scholarship. Do you want to come back? Yeah. All right, we're going to put you on this, or we're going to increase your scholarship, or we're going to decrease it a little bit, or we're going to take your scholarship, or you're leaving. Now, you know, you have a little bit more gray area in there. In other words, you get some scholarship money, you have some rev share money, you have some NIL money, and these kids aren't dummies. Like, they figure out who was on what and this kind of stuff. And so you have to be a little more patient, I think, and willing to have some give and take in some of these negotiations, because that's what they are. And look at it maybe from like a more of a general manager standpoint, kind of take your ego out of it, and just get the deal done, especially with the guy you really want back. And you can only bounce the ball so high, right? Up to a certain ceiling. But those are all things that are new for us in our program, and so we're having to kind of deal with that.
It's one you kind of have to say, look, at a certain point, it's like you've had a career. I'm sure at certain points in your career, you said, hey, I've done X, Y, and Z. This is the amount that I should be getting paid for that, right? I mean, it's like we've all had that in our jobs and lives. So it's one of those things that, yeah, is, again, within reason. You're not coming up saying like, I'm so great, give me $20 billion. Like, no, that's
right.
Not real.
Yeah, no, there's no question. And, you know, sometimes it gets to a point in there where you go, man, I'd love to give you that, but we're going to have a crappy team.
Right.
Players that we need, and it ain't going to do me any good to have you here on that and us being last place.
Yeah, we're not the Yankees. This isn't a bottomless pit, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and so and then in other cases, you're like, you know what? And we had a player, and it's probably not smart to name it. We had a player who had a bad first couple of years. We took a scholarship from him. He wanted to come back and fight it out, which I've done that with guys before. And the guys, almost to the man, the guys that kind of go, I want to come back, I'll show you, usually do. It's an uncanny thing. And you can't always do that, because if he was a portal guy and he had to sign on this, and anyway, this kid did, and he came back and he had a good year this year, and he was really a big part of our playing better the second half of the season, and I believe he's going to keep getting better. He's finally healthy, and he came in, and I said, look, we're going to give you some money back. How's this sound? And he looked at me very professionally and very respectfully and said, I think I should be on what I was on before you took my scholarship. I want to help my family out. They had to deal with it this year, and I'm good with it. And I said, you know what? You're right. You should. And let's go.
Yeah.
So I think those are the parts of it. You know, you're weighing the scales a lot.
And that's only going to help that kid in the future when they, whatever is past baseball, having those adult conversations. And like I said, having that realistic of like that, the way you said all that right there, he didn't ask for something unrealistic. He just said, hey, I should be back to where I was. And it's like, okay.
He didn't. And it wasn't, I mean, sometimes in negotiations, you purposely start low, right? Just to,
right. Yeah.
I think it wasn't that case. It was kind of, this is what we got. We think we got, and let's offer him this. He wasn't on anything last year, but that wasn't what his thoughts were. And I told him, I said, man, I respect so much the fact that you came in here and said that. It tells me a lot about what you think about yourself, which I haven't always believed you thought that much about yourself. And this helps me even believe in you more. So good for you. And so I think those are, like I said, those are the learning curve parts of this for me. And I think it's all good stuff. Some of those meetings, man, they're hard because you're talking about kids and young men, and they're impressionable. And when you tell them that you just don't think they're good enough, they want to know why, and you try to be honest with them without killing them. And I always tell guys, look, we are completely allowed. Reasonable minds can disagree in this world. I've always believed that. It's okay. But if we're not going to bow up on each other in here, if that happens, then we'll just end it, and you're leaving anyway. So, and the last thing I make sure they know is, all of us, Mike, me, Hage, Paulie, we've been doing this a long time, and we know a lot of people, and we got a good reputation in this business because of that. Just be careful, because people are going to call us, and if you handle it the right way, we're going to help you, and if you don't, we're not. And you don't want us, because I've had that, I'll call a coach about a kid, and he's a friend of mine, or no, he'll say, man, run for the hills.
Yeah.
And that's the end of that conversation.
Yeah.
I don't care what he hit. I don't care how hard he throws. When the guy says that, then you're moving on, because none of us want to deal with that. So it's a multifaceted thing, man. And I think we all, when we sit down as a staff this year, they were faster because we had more kids that I thought needed to move on. It was more than we've had in the past. But I think it was necessary. And we had those conversations the next morning after, getting back home at midnight and whatever. And, but they are staff conversations, because I want to know what all of our guys think. On every one of those kids, not that we all have to agree with them, and we often don't. But it's important to me to hear what our assistant coaches think, and get their thoughts, because they have some insight sometimes I don't have. And, they've had some conversations I haven't had, and so those are all valuable.
We'll appreciate the peek behind the curtain on that, because I think the only soundbite that gets out there usually is this kid's in the portal, and everyone wants to go pile on the kid because it's in there. It's like, you don't know the reason why they're in the portal.
No, everybody assumes they're leaving because they're looking for greener pasture, or they got paid somewhere, or they got in trouble and got kicked out of the program. And most cases, it's none of those. It just didn't work out. And it's the right thing for them to, to move on. And all these guys, like, the thing that makes your experience when you interview these thousands of players, it's not even where they played. It's that they played and contributed, and the relationships, the coaching staff, the players on the team, how that affected their lives. Those are the most important things. And I try to explain to them, if you haven't played here for 2 years and we're telling you you're not going to play next year, go have a good experience. And especially now, the kids have the advantage of having an extra year, probably, that gets voted in here in the next month. And so you're going to be able to go get in a program, have a chance to play every day. That doesn't mean you're gonna, just because you leave and go to a lower level or a different name. You still got to fight it out. There's good players everywhere. And you got to go play well. You know, if you go there and stink, you're going to sit on the bench again. You know, that's a fact. So it's still on you to perform, but maybe you have a better chance or more opportunities for failure at this place. And I mean, we had one kid, you know, announced he was in the portal that morning, and we had 5 phone calls from teams that afternoon about him. So
Good.
yeah. So you're like
What
a
you
little
want.
bit of a broker too, right? And
Yeah.
but every one of those phone calls starts with, "Is he a good kid?" Like, well,
Yeah.
everyone.
Nobody's trying to bring in a turd. Is that what you're telling me? Nobody wants a bad
nobody's
kid.
trying to bring in a turd. Yeah, they want good kids. They want good teammates.
Yeah.
They want good students, and they want guys that are going to fit in. And I think that's the thing that people need to make sure they understand. I mean, these are good kids for the most part.
Yeah.
The fit sometimes isn't exactly right, and that's okay. That's life. And look, man, we take the responsibility of it seriously because we brought them here, and if it didn't work out, that's on us. In most cases, in some cases, there's some blame to go around because they might have been good enough and they just didn't work hard enough. But then again, that's on us too because we could have evaluated that better, perhaps. And so there is a lot of looking in the mirror, man, when this time of the year. And you know, speaking of Carl. I mean, we were talking about this morning, and he goes, listen, the thing people forget is every team has some bad players on
it. Yeah, it's true.
And that's a coach's – I don't say that like to knock anybody. That's coach speak. You know, he's like, we got some bad players on our team. like stuff like that. And he goes, you're not going to have a whole team full of studs like that or every player's all conference. It's just not how it works. But, you know, you hope that the guys that maybe are playing less understand their role and they're really good at that role, in that role, teammates, supportive. You know, and we had a lot of that. Our guys, some of our guys didn't play a ton, like we're fantastic teammates and really good role models and things like that. So,
well, I always look at like a couple of guys that are great examples. They ended up coaching for you too, which tells you they had a great experience. John Keane and Bryce Jones, a couple of guys who, you know, I think a lot of it too comes down to what do you want to get out of this? You know, for both of them, it was like, hey, look, I'm not getting to play a ton, but I'm getting to play close to home. You know, Bryce is getting to play with his best friend Kyle Edwards. You know, he's him and his dad, you know, they love ODU. Bryce is as big an ODU basketball fan as anybody you're ever going to find.
yeah.
And for them, it was like, either one of them could have, you know, John Keane was a catcher who wasn't playing a ton, becomes a pitcher who wasn't pitching a ton.
Yeah.
Which, again, both wonderful team guys. Either one of them could have at some point decided, hey, you know what matters to me is I'd like to go somewhere and play. And they could have, I guarantee, gone somewhere and play. If Bryce had gone to Hampton Sydney with his brother, he probably could have been all conference, right? I mean, he's a good ball player. But what they decided for their lives and their careers was they wanted to stay at Old Dominion, be team guys, enjoy the experience. And, you know, I think, like I said, clearly it worked out because they both ended up coaching with you.
That's a great point. And, you know, unfortunately, there's a financial component to that. Both those guys were walk-ons.
Right.
So they were able to – the great kids, great teammates. It was before these roster limits came down. They were able to take advantage of some of the COVID roster limits and stay in the program. And now when this 34 hard roster comes down, there aren't going to be any walk-ons anymore. Like basically, unless you got a kid that's on an academic scholarship, full boat or something like that. And so like that whole dynamic, like we've always had some good walk-ons, you know, those guys you mentioned. I mean, Jason Hardline was a walk-on. He's a fantastic player here. Vincent Bashera and his brother Brown were both walk-ons. You know, and that side of college baseball is going to go away at the larger levels, I fear, where you can, all right, man, he's staying in the program as long as I'm here because he's an awesome kid.
Yeah, right.
That kind of thing. So, yeah, I hear you. Those guys, like, we're so proud of, you know, all of them, you know, especially the guys that get into coaching and, you know, do well. I'd like to see, you mentioned him, I'd like to see Kyle Edwards come back here and get into coaching when he's done playing. because I think he'd be really good at it.
I think so too.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I did see something funny from that league that he's in. It looked like a player was traded for a player to be named later, and then the player that got traded ended up becoming the player to be named later that went back to the team. So
He got traded for himself, which is great.
yeah, it was
only in independent
Yes.
baseball could that possibly happen.
Very, very indie ball. I think that happened one time in the major leagues, but that was like 50 years ago it happened. But
how's that even possible?
It's like it's like a paid vacation to another team.
It should be like no take backs, man.
Right.
We need at least a bucket of balls or something like
something. Yeah,
Pepsi machine or something.
We need a new mount tarp.
That's a thing, that's a thing that I know. I don't know if they still do, but I know it used to be a thing. Like when major league teams assigned indie ball players, they would typically do stuff like I remember like Kerry Lightenberg got signed by the Braves from an indie ball team, and they gave him like 3 dozen buckets of baseballs or something like that. It was like
Don't get his
the team is they're kind of like, hey, what do you need? We can help you out. They're like, oh, we can't afford baseballs. Like, we got you. Then,
oh, that's great. When I was at VCU with Coach Keys, North Carolina A&T would come up and play us every year, and they never wanted any money because they said, excuse me, the athletic department would take it from them. They would never get it. So we had a Louisville Slugger contract at the time, and we got 40 bats a year or whatever. He always wanted 3 bats. That's what he wanted. 3 bats. And it was he'd always just give them to them when they come up. He'd bring them 3 brand new bats. So
why not? Sure.
Yeah. Pays for the trip. Oh,
so
awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
we're in the middle of the portal opens up a week from yesterday. I think next Monday or Tuesday, and we're in the middle of all of that stuff right now.
Yeah, it was funny watching you guys already getting on that on the bus. Like there was already a spreadsheet being created, and everybody was checking out things and passing the laptops. It was interesting watching that.
Paulie and Hayes got it down to pretty good working science now. There's also Junior College World Series going on right now, and so we're recruiting some kids that are playing in the Division I and the Division II World Series, and we're able to watch those games online. So that's nice. So it's a couple kids that it's been helpful to watch them play online. In fact, a kid plays tonight at 7. So I'm gonna tune that game in.
It's not too bad. Better than having to fly out there to see it.
Yeah.
We're in the dead period right now anyway, so you can't even, from yesterday to Monday is dead period, so you can't even go see anybody play. So that's but you can still watch them online.
There you go. Can't stop me.
Comfort of your own home.
And then summer ball, we got we got Mac Dye, Tyler's of Dallas, and Jackson Runyon are going to the pilots right now, and then Efren Morales is going to go probably early July and play the second half over there.
Nice.
And then we've got a bunch of kids that are going to be in this Tidewater Summer League. We even got I think we got 4 of our incoming freshman hitters in that. They'll be playing in that. And a few of our young
which team they're going to play for, or do you?
I think that's a good.
I know they change them all the time.
Yeah, I think they're playing for Roland's team.
Okay, the Thunderbirds.
Yeah, I know Jackson Okonkwo is playing that league, and he's just going to hit. He's not pitching.
Yeah, I heard that.
So he's playing on Julie's team.
Okay.
And then I think Chris Cavalcante is playing on Druzz's team.
So you just go see the whole league any given day. You'll see somebody.
Yeah.
We'll have some other young arms. I think Maddox Jack might throw a few innings in that or something like that. So so we're I'm really I like what they're doing with that league. I think it's better than what they've done in the past. So
that league goes through all kinds of cycles. Of some years it's like, oh, this is pretty well run. Some years what are you guys doing this year?
Yeah, I think they've taken some of that out of the one guy's hands, and they're co-oping it a little bit more. And anytime you got Roland Wright Like Dyer involved, it's going to be run better.
Yeah. Anytime you let Roland run something, man, when I go to one of y'all's camps and Roland is kind of making the engine go, it's like this thing's going to be great. When Roland's not there, it's like we're going to be in for a long day.
Row will make it run quickly and efficiently. That is a fact.
Yeah,
no doubt.
I'm trying to go see their playoff game on Wednesday. I'm hoping the weather
Wednesday
stays.
Well, they got LC Bird or something like Thomas Dale.
Yeah, LC Bird, I think it was.
He said, because he said he's not throwing the one kid, the sophomore, what else? So so they so that's we're working through that and recruiting, and fortunately this year we don't need that many guys in the portal, and I think we're still looking for a couple arms, preferably left-hand pitchers, I believe, and then maybe an infielder and one outfielder. So that's kind of what we're down to. So should be exciting couple weeks.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there's one more summer league guy that I've got to mention here, just because I don't know when we'll be back on. Scotty Young announced today he's going to go play for the Savannah Bananas this summer. So if you find yourself around Savannah, Georgia this summer, make sure to go check him out and support him there. What a perfect landing spot for Scotty.
I mean, you talk about a marriage made in heaven.
It's perfect.
I told him when he told me, I said, it kind of feels like you've been playing for the Bananas since you've been here. Like, sometimes I wonder if you're playing different rules or. Hey, Scotty is so much fun. We're so appreciative of his time here, man. He was just a shot in the arm. He's a really grateful kid. He appreciates things. Great teammate. Super competitor. I can't say enough good things about him. And it was so cool that he was able to get another year back and spend his first time ever being at a place for 2 years.
Yeah. Right.
And, it's just like he's one of those guys you feel like you stay in touch with for a long, long time because of his personality. And so we wish him the best. And I mean, I said, man, if you guys ever, we get the stadium going and all that, maybe we need to get the Savannah
ball over to you. Yeah.
And, I was like, you got to work on your dance moves a little bit now. Let's go.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
So, it'll be a lot of fun. And it's a perfect situation for him.
Yeah, he's going to make a lot of fans very happy being on the Savannah Bananas.
Yes, he will. Yeah. So how that works is they put you in their training program first. They have all these teams down there, and they all live in Savannah. And then they farm you out to one of these different teams. And then if you end up in this one group, then you got kind of a guaranteed, as long as you don't get hurt, to go end up with the Bananas. So they have so many teams now that play in their organization.
There's a local kid, the South Trimble, that plays for the Firefighters.
Yeah.
And so it's been really cool to see. He's a really good kid, and you get to see him. He played at George Mason, and get to see him kind of make that transition to, for being a pretty solid college player to now. I think it's at least 3, maybe 4 years he's been doing that. He's the magician now. So it's really neat seeing the.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. I wish I'd have thought of it.
Right.
Yes.
Who'd have thought you could have fun playing baseball?
I really do think it's actually not this, necessarily the catching a foul ball as an out, that kind of thing, but the idea of like, oh, you can have fun playing baseball. You definitely feel that more in the overall sport in the last 5-6 years that they've been around.
I agree. I think it's super cool. I mean, and in a summer league situation, why not have rules like that?
Yeah.
Like, awesome. People are like, they caught it, he's out. That's awesome. Like,
great.
Tried to do that in one of our games, guys would be shooting themselves in the head. We lost the championship because Joe Blow with a bag of peanuts caught a foul ball. You gotta be kidding. No. But it's cool. The banana ball rules are fun, and I think it's neat. I really do.
Yeah, be excited for them, and we'll get some more information out as we learn more about summer leagues throughout, and we'll push the pilots and all that good stuff. Summer league ball is, I think, like one of the best.
Love go pilot. I'm already got my plans to go to the pilots on Friday.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
There's a couple kids throwing. Are they playing the Chili Peppers by any chance?
Not Friday. Maybe Saturday they might be. I'm not sure. I know Friday is, I think, the Australian team, the Devil Dogs.
Oh, that's the all Australian group. That's cool.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, we'll see if they can maintain that through the whole summer. I'm curious, how they change players so much sometimes.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple, again in the portal, like there's some kids we're
Mhm.
hearing going in that are,
Okay.
from different teams, and it's always helpful for us if they end up playing, against the pilots because it's easy to get up.
Yeah.
So, or we just send our chief recruiter, CB Wilkins.
Yeah. I think Morehead City is the Saturday game that I'll be at too. So yeah,
Okay.
you let me know if there's ever somebody you're curious about. I'll keep an eye out.
No, we will.
Not as good as y'all, but I got a basic understanding of what somebody sucks or doesn't suck.
That's hey, that's a big part of it.
It's better sometimes. It's like,
but
hey man,
if
this
we
guy's
call him-
trash. Don't bother.
If we call him the first sentences, well, he doesn't suck.
Yeah. Good start.
And that's the problem. Oh, and I just thought of another. Cam Tellefson is playing in the Valley League for Winchester.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Okay.
And I think he's up there. I think JJ Hand and
Brody. I think
and
is gonna be
Brody
there,
are
too.
playing there as well. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, but Cam's going up there to play. So really
Nice.
proud of Cam this year, man. He worked his butt off in the weight room. I mean, he is an animal now. He is a big,
Huge.
um,
It's a large human.
yeah. He really took advantage of his redshirt year and worked hard. So hopefully that'll pay off for him next year.
Yes, good competition for first base at the very least.
Yeah. We're excited about all of that, man. It's a good group coming in and a good group coming back, and we just got to wrap this thing up hopefully in the next few weeks, and then we'll move on to the high school kids in July. So it's all about the older kids in the end of May and first part of June.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll start doing this about once a month. So we'll come back, probably a few weeks and have an episode. Maybe we'll get Hage or Marin or Panic or somebody on, talk to us about recruiting and stuff. But Finny, as always, man, we appreciate you. I mean, again, can't thank you enough for everything you do for us, and it's a joy having you on here, man.
It's my pleasure, and I appreciate you guys, and I think you guys have figured out how to thread the needle on providing content and honest content, and then also be able to slant things in as positive a direction as possible. We had a rough first half of the season. We just did, and we want to own that and not run away from it, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't ever feel like you guys were, piling on, which some people like to do that, right? Like,
yeah, man. Some people love that. I don't know why.
Yeah, especially in the era of social media. And I don't, I learned a long time ago, never read any of that, because if you're winning, they think you're way better than you are, and if you're losing, they think you're way worse than you are. So, but you guys, that is a area that you guys have to deal in, and for content and for y'all's, publications and things like that. So I understand that. I just appreciate, how you guys are ODU fans and supporters.
Oh yeah.
I think that comes over all the time, no matter what. And it means a lot to all of us coaches, man. It really does, because people can have a tendency to look at coaches as less than human at times. They think we're all just cyborgs or something, and but we're not, man. We got families, and we laugh and we cry and we bleed and all the things that everybody else does. And we just happen to coach a sport, and it means an awful lot to us. I think if anybody thinks there's anybody that feels worse about a loss than the coach and the coaching staff of that team, they're kidding themselves.
Yeah.
Crazy. Because, I tell our guys all the time, man, when we play a certain way, I don't sleep at night. Like, I'm up pacing the floor all night trying to figure out what's going on. And when you play good, I still don't sleep great at night, but I sleep a little more. But that's the reality of it. And it's always been that way. It's always going to be that way. But I think any chance I get to point that out, people that are supportive and honest, because I do believe you can do both. And I do believe people can disagree on things without, being overzealous or disrespectful as well.
Well, it's definitely the goal, but it's been awesome having you on this year. Excited to have you keep coming on throughout the rest of this year and into next season. And finally, the new ballpark.
Yes.
Finally, the new ballpark. It is here.
And the best thing that's going to happen this week is I get to go down Thursday and hug my grandson, Sterling, for the first time.
Yes.
So
that's awesome.
I'm going to be down there Thursday through Monday. So I'm just beside myself just thinking about that. So can't wait. And, you know, I'll have some pictures for the next episode of me and Mr. Sterling. So that's going to be awesome.
That's great. Yeah, give Chrissy and Gray big hugs, and Sterling too. They're all wonderful folks, and I'm sure that kid's already lucky because he's got them as parents.
He is, no doubt about it. So he might have missed a little bit on the granddad draw of the car. We're gonna make it work. So not much we can do about that one. I'll be the granddad that gets us all and try. Hey, don't tell your mom.
That's the job. That's the job.
All right. Whatever happens at granddad's house, like don't tell him. But he'll be swinging left-handed before too long. I can guarantee.
There you go.
Love it.
Way to do it.
All right, guys. Thank you. Thanks for everything, man. Y'all are the best. And go Monarchs.
Go Monarchs. Thanks,
go
Finny.
Monarchs.
The Old Dominion Athletic Foundation, or commonly referred to as the ODAF, was established in 1964 as a nonprofit organization. The mission of the ODAF is to raise financial support for ODU athletics to ensure that our coaches and student athletes have the resources necessary to compete for championships. The ODAF is integral to the success of ODU athletics and is the channel through which our fans and alumni can partner with our coaches and student athletes for the advancement of the athletics program. Through the generous efforts of our donors, loyal fan base, and community, the ODU alumni from around the globe, the ODAF raises money for student athletic scholarship support and endowments, capital projects, program-specific support, and athletic department operations. Funds are raised through annual giving, multi-year pledges, events, premium seating, and planned giving. With questions about how to get involved in one or more of these initiatives, reach out to an ODAF representative. Gifts to the ODAF are investments in the lives of our student athletes. ODAF members receive exclusive benefits such as priority points for postseason and away game seating, parking, VIP, and hospitality experiences, and more. Because of you, we create winners in the classroom, in athletic competition, and in life. Contact the ODAF and become a member today.
Yeah.
All righty. We are back. Thanks, Blaine.
We are back. Thanks, Blaine.
Great as always having Coach Finny on. I think this is the 18th episode of this year for us. I think he's been on all but 2 of them. Glad to get almost nearly an hour with him at the end of the season here and really understand like what's going on in his world, what's going on.
And we didn't even talk about the game.
We didn't. Well, I don't know if there's much to talk about.
Let's just not.
Maverick Stalling hit a solo home run.
There wasn't a home run. There wasn't a home run.
Yes.
The people might not know there. If you look on that outfield wall, there's like the padding. It's about 8 feet like normal, and there's like a fence. Well, the top of that fence above the padding, there's actually a yellow line. That's actually where a home run is. His ball hit the fence above the padding, which in most places you're like, oh, that's a home run. Why the umpires and nobody else knew? Why? I guess because of the score. The other team didn't care. It's a double. It got stuck in the padding. It should have been a ground rule double. Whatever. It's the trip down there was so fun. It was so exciting until then we played the game.
Yes. I was the only person left up there in the media perch at that point because it was so late. And I'm looking down, seeing Maverick's ball sitting on top of the pad, and he's rounding the bases. Everyone's doing this, and I'm just being quiet, not saying a word, not doing anything. I think I had the only view because we know we didn't have camera angles, but But either way, glad he goes out with a nice bang there to end his college career. But I'm sure he would trade that gladly for a different outcome.
Continuing to play some games, but that's just how it goes. That's unfortunately the game. That's we know how the team was this season. They were consistently inconsistent, and that unfortunately kind of showed up last game. We was 17-1, only got 2 hits. I mean, even and then Tanton, has been about the best pitcher all year. He gave up a 2-run homer that realistically is a fly ball. That thing was about 308 feet. That little part where it juts in. I mean, so nothing was going right. It was just, that's just unfortunately how it went. That's kind of, and again, I didn't pull together and look through the schedule, but we had far too many games like that where we got blown out. We didn't even have, I mean, you had 26 losses on the season. I don't know how many we actually had that were like within reason, where it was like, oh, we actually had a shot to win this game. I mean,
there weren't many.
If there were 26, maybe 6 of them were the ones where it was like, okay, we just kind of, we lost. It was close. There were a lot of like, when we lost games, it was like, boy, we got whipped.
No, we
won games. It's kind of like, yeah, we won games. It's kind of like, man, we killed them. Like it was a very, very strange season.
Yeah, it was either like we blew them out or it was a walk-off. There was no like, oh, we won nice, clean, and tidy 4-2, and that was it.
Yeah.
But Georgia State, they were a hot team. They finished with the series win over App State to get in. They were fired up, and I mean, just from the jump, they were on the ball. It didn't matter where you threw it, what you threw. It was getting tattooed. They made a little run, but their time came to an end. I think we may have a little bit of a rivalry now with Georgia State, just from the chippiness on the field. I don't know if that was just the two guys, but it was chippy for sure.
Yeah, hey, I'm all for whatever. Having conference rivals is never bad. I mean, I think that was a kind of a late CAA rivalry for the football team, kind of with Georgia State too. So I'm all for it. There, Atlanta's not too far. We'll probably play them every year in every sport. So why not?
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely. I think for me, it starts going back to football a couple years ago when the dude knocked out Lamarian James on the field and was like mimicking him sleeping on the sideline. ODU won that game, and they haven't lost to Georgia State since in football. But that'll be one to circle for
badly in football too, I think.
Yeah, they have fallen off of a pretty substantial cliff down there in Atlanta. So, all right,
let's talk about some good things.
Yes, we want to do our year-end awards here.
Yes, and you'll put them up in whatever order you have them. I don't know what you got, so you tell me. Hey, look at that guy!
Freshman of the year.
Yeah. So this one, not much of a surprise, right? I mean, he, there really wasn't a deep competition, I think, for freshman of the year. I mean, really, you could argue Okonkwo was up there. Mm-hmm. Nick Felton was up there, but the guy who clearly stood out as the best freshman was Ben Tanton, right? I mean, he was 7-0, a 2.19 ERA, 37 innings, 41 strikeouts, only 13 walks. I mean, so he was great. 17 games. His worst game was his one start. So if you take that out, I think his numbers are even better. I mean, Ben was just, you don't expect a freshman to come in and be this good out of the bullpen and be this much of a solidifying force.
I mean, he was a beast. When he came into games, you knew you were going to hold the lead. You were going to be in great shape. Also, just so cool and calm and poised. No matter what was happening, no situation was too big. It's when he's up there on the mound and you got a lead, you just feel like, all right, we've got the dominant guy to close the door. Like he is not going to let someone beat him right now, and that's pretty much what we saw from him all season.
No, it's funny you talk about being poised because, as a photographer, you're always kind of hoping you get that like cool shot when they strike a guy out for the third out. You get that like pumped up look. Gaddy was always really good for that. Kusky was good for a few times.
Bailey,
the guys who are Bailey's pretty good for it. But like Kellen would kind of do it, but in like a weird face where it was kind of like not really a cinematic. But like Ben, I think at most in I think maybe in that game down there, he was kind of like shaking his head as a like they can't touch me, but like you're not gonna get like that. That was the most. It took all season to get to there. Like he said, he's poised to the point where it's like, well, I'm not getting a cool picture of this because he's just walking off. Like he just which is great. Which is what you want. You want a guy who he's doing it and it's who he is. He's the baby-faced assassin. He is just taking care of business.
Assassin, BFA for sure. And he was so good as a freshman, so good as a pitcher. He's also our pitcher of the year.
Yes, also pitcher of the year. Yeah, which again led the team with 7 wins, 7-0. He just, you think about it, we had 29 victories. He got the victory in 7 of them, so it's about a quarter of the wins. I mean, that's huge. He was not. I think he ended up 4th in the team in innings, so it's not like he pitched the most innings, but I think he very clearly. I mean, JJ Gaddy is the only other pitcher who I think really could have had an argument for this because he had 57 innings, had a .44, 370 area, which is pretty good for college. We think about JJ had kind of up and down year, but he actually had a pretty solid season. But again, I think Ben was he was the pick. I think for all 4 of these awards we're giving out, it's you can make some arguments, but I think it's pretty clear the guys that got picked because they were the choices.
Yeah, and he was on the freshman team for the Sun Belt. He did not get freshman of the year through the conference, but he's definitely in the running for that. And again, just what we said earlier, for a freshman to make this kind of impact, I mean, the meaningful innings that he pitched, like he's pitching late in games. He's trying to bridge to either Bailey or Kellen on the back end. I don't know if we lose 7 more games if he doesn't pitch, but we probably lose 3 or 4 more games, and we're not going to Montgomery at all. So shout out to Ben, man.
Yeah, that's a great way to phrase it. That do we win all? And there are other ones that we won that he pitched in. I mean, we have to look at what the record of the team was in games he pitched. He pitched in 17 games. My guess is they were probably like 14-3 in those games. Like
probably pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a make or break, and he's a huge pickup for the team. He's going to make a massive impact for us next year. It's some good things ahead for Ben if he continues to progress the way he has in his first year here.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll choose an award now that did not go to Ben Tanton.
What?
We'll go hitter of the year, Mr. Maverick Stallings.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think you can make some arguments. I mean, Will Johnson had a really great season, particularly in the second half. Zach Late had a great year. He started out so strong. It's not that he had a bad second half. He just had had a very kind of normal second half. But the guy who, for the first year, again, this is 3 years he's been here. This is the first year that he's actually been good from day one to the last day. And so getting to see, Maverick ends up, let's just say his numbers here, he's a 325 average, a 1004 OPS, had 15 doubles, which led the team, 12 homers, which led the team, 46 RBIs. He led the team in OPS by 100 points, led in slugging by 100 points. Total bases, he had almost 30 more than the next guy. I mean, Maverick was he was it at the plate. Like, he was the guy. Since I'm already talking, what I think is cool, if you have 3 years in a college team, you pretty much have about the equivalent of a major league season. And so we know Maverick led the team in home runs 3 straight years. But so if you look at Maverick in his 3 seasons at ODU, 152 games, 571 plate appearances. Like I said, about a major league season's worth.
Yeah.
Talking about 26 doubles, 33 homers, 107 RBIs, a 300 average, and a 936 OPS. So that would be you'd be talking about a all-star,
easily
season
all-star.
silver slugger second baseman.
Yeah, and again, playing second base, a position you typically don't get power numbers out of.
Right.
And similar could be made for Will at short, because his power really came on later, and I think if he played that way all season, he'd get it. But man, I mean, he came clutch in so many different situations this year that kind of get glossed over a little bit. But it was his most consistent year, and he was our most consistent hitter all season long. And then, of course, it wasn't just the offensive side.
Oh,
Maverick also gets
defensive
player of the year too. So he's coupling all that with phenomenal defense in the field.
Yeah, I wish I could find like the updated stats, but about a month ago, one of these publications, like 643, I think was what it was. They had shared the defensive runs saved for second baseman for the whole, for all of Division I, and Maverick was 6th. He had, I think it was like 5.6 defensive runs. Basically, he had saved them 5.5 runs over the course of the season with his defense. Like 5.5 runs that did not score because of I wish I was trying hard. I mean, who knows? I don't know where they find that stat. Somebody smarter and better than me has it. But yeah, it was one of those, it passes the eye test, it passes the stats test. He was just really, really good all year playing second base. And there again, now I think if Nick Felton had played like maybe 2 or 3 more weekends, maybe he gets the award but I think he's going to get it every year from here on, probably.
Yes. He'll be the odds on favorite clearly going into next year. We forget that Nick didn't start at the beginning of the season. He didn't have this full body work. And that's really kind of the biggest difference. The defensive run save, that's actually really hard for an infielder to gain that many. If you're an outfielder, you can affect it more because you're robbing doubles and home runs and throwing guys out at the plate. So for, a second baseman to get that's pretty high up the food chain. Someone's got to take a shot at Maverick here whether it's indie ball, a pro team, something like that. So, like, when are you going to get that kind of power production from a second baseman, especially in this day and age? You just don't really see it that much.
He looks like a professional. I mean, when you have he's a 5th-year senior, they got that 5th year because of, all the whatever stuff. Again, I think like Scotty told it to us great. He's like, look, we didn't do anything to earn it. We don't deserve it, but we're going to take it and enjoy it. And Maverick followed that to the T. I mean, he looks like what you want a 5th-year player to look like. Yeah. I mean, I'd be shocked if he got drafted because I just don't think they draft 5th-year seniors anymore. They don't really draft 4-year seniors anymore, but he should get signed. Again, will he want to go play indie ball? I don't know. But he is a professional baseball player. And again, this is where my tangent on the last one about the problems with minor league baseball. And I saw something the other day, they're about to make it worse. But he should be playing pro ball. He's a professional player, has been a professional pretty much from his first day. And this year he showed the consistency that a professional really has.
Yeah, so hope to see him play somewhere, whether it's indie ball. Maybe Kyle Eberson can concoct up another trade and figure something out over there in indie ball. But either way, like, he deserves a shake. He's a guy that, you could probably put him on a Double-A team right now and he'd be fine. Yeah. So, and
he plays, good to say, he also can play third base just fine. So he's got that positional flexibility that you want. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those, again, like, what are you guys looking for if this isn't what you're looking for?
Yeah, he passes all the tests that we know of today. So, but just kind of wrapping the season up. If Finny kind of pointed out, at one point we were 5-10 and things look really, really ugly. Like, I mean, ugly, really bad. But for the team to kind of just gut it out and then start playing even better baseball down the stretch, you notice it a lot in the midweek games where early on, I don't feel like we had a chance in many of our midweeks, and then we take 3 from Richmond, 2 from VCU. It ends up being a tournament team. Like, we finally get the monkey off our back with William and Mary.
Yeah.
Like, you just see the team was playing better, and for them to gut that out, come back and at least make it to Montgomery, where unfortunately it did not go well at all.
Yeah.
But it showed that this team has some fight. I think it taught some of the younger guys a lesson about, like, it's a long season, pace yourselves, and don't try to win every single game with each swing.
Well, and I think the younger guys is a huge deal too, because there's so many of the younger guys that, as the season went, really developed well. I mean, you saw, Maddox Jack, Tanton there, obviously, Okonkwo, Cavalcante, they all got better. Felton on the offensive side, all got better as the season was going on. And these are guys who, now they're going to be looking at them to be sophomores next year and come in. I mean, and we, obviously you're losing a lot of guys. I think there's about 12 seniors, I think, that were out of eligibility. But the reality is there's 3 of them in the lineup that you're losing. You're losing Late and Stallings at first and second base, and then Scott Young from right field.
Yep.
And then as far as the pitching side, you're losing guys who really throw a lot of innings. You're talking about Kellen Davis and Bailey Matella. So you're actually coming back theoretically with a lot of what you had this year. Now again, we say, this year wasn't like the most amazing year. All right, fine. But they grew, they were growing, they were trending the right way. If you take those guys, the lessons they've learned, let them develop some more over the summer and the fall, and then you're adding in, whatever you're going to add in. They like some of the JUCO guys they're bringing in. They like the freshmen they're bringing in. You got to feel like it doesn't feel like the cupboard got eliminated, right? It's like we have a good stock already. We're going to add some more to it. And you got to feel, I think, pretty good about going into next year.
I think so. I mean, I know we're losing a lot of leadership from the team. A lot of guys who are either the vocal leaders or just performance leaders, bullpen leaders. I know they've instilled some good things there, and there may be some additional announcements coming in the next couple of weeks that could shore up the transition of that leadership accountability. But we also know that Patrick Johnson got another year back. Right. So he's back in the bullpen, and he's someone that had a little bit of an up and down year, but started pitching better. But he is definitely someone that can go lead kind of that bullpen, that pitching crew next year. Plus,
well, then if you get
JJ
Marcus Van Alstine back, healthy, that's another guy in the bullpen who, and he was there all year, but it's hard to be a leader when you're not in the field doing it. So when with the guy who he is, which is just a big goofy guy, he was giving me a hard time about, because I said he was ducking the podcast. You never ducked the podcast, Marcus, except for that one time that you did duck the podcast, but that's fine. But yeah, I mean, so you're right. I think leadership's always a thing. I mean, you think about some of the guys who we have who, you know, you see Will Johnson and Efrain Morales step up into those leadership roles, and like I said, and JJ is as much a leader I think he's going to find on the pitching staff. Yeah. So you like to believe, like you said, if they've set the culture right and the guys who are doing it the right way this year, if the guys those guys leave and other guys take up that mantle and the younger guys feel more empowered to step up because now they're in those more leadership roles, then that's what you want. So I think again, it's it's always we were out there at the end of the game. We know it's tough watching these guys. I mean, it's brutal. Some of the just tears and running down the face. I'm trying my best not to like be a crying mess when we're out there too, because I don't want to make it worse for the guys. But it's no matter what, no matter how things go, this group of players will never be together again, which is sad because it's their guy. But you are going to have the next group come in, and you really believe like things are going in a good direction, and there's a good shot to really be highly competitive in 2027, which doesn't sound like a real year, but it's only next year.
Yeah, it's going to be here before you know it. Being down there on the field after the game on Tuesday was definitely tough. We got so many guys that like that's their last game. That's it.
Yeah.
Thinking of guys like Cash J and Slater too, and Schumann and all those guys. But
Evan Holman,
Evan definitely a tough one there too. So that's probably like the worst part about doing this is you get so attached to these guys, and it has a very finite amount of time that they're going to be on the team. They're going to play their last.
I mean, a few of these guys, you think about like Stott and Metella and Schumann and Davis. I mean, they've been around. It seems like 100 years. I mean, a couple of those guys have been around 5 years. And so that group of guys who've kind of always been around the pitching staff and the bullpen, not here anymore. It will feel odd, and again, it'll feel, it'll be what it is. Cause that's kind of what baseball always is. I think TJ and I were talking about that on the bus ride back about like, it's going to be like, between transfers and things, probably gonna be like 20 guys. I'm like, but it was about 20 guys last year. It's just kind of what every year is what it is. So yeah.
Just
strange.
the norm. Yeah. Well, I'm glad we're bringing back a younger core plus some guys that produce that are going to kind of be in their final year next year. Because I think the expectations go up next year. This team's been through hell the last two. Like last year on the road, this year modified home field, very weird and disconnected from the fans, but the best we could do. Next year, got the ballpark open. There's going to be some expectations on winning that are going to be better than like setting the target at 15-15. But we weren't far from being better than 15-15 this year. I mean, we played like trash the first half of the season, and we still got to 15-15, close to 16-14 if we finish off JMU in that final game. And if you look, like 16-14, 17-13 get you a regional bid. So we're like just below that mark. So a little improvement. The expectations will go up, and I think we'll probably see better play just from having a normal home environment for the first time in 2 years.
Yeah, and you hope, like I said, they seem to like some of the JUCO guys they're bringing in, and some are coming from winning programs. He was just saying right there, they're hoping to grab a couple more that they haven't gotten yet that are out there doing some winning right now. And so that's what you always want is those guys who, you want guys who want to win. You want guys who, you want good people, but part of that being good people is we all want to win together.
Got to be competitive. All right. Well, that will do it for us. We will probably come back in about a month or so with a recruiting update, portal update, let all of that settle. We still got a week before it opens. ODmonarchist.com does have a baseball roster churn as things become public. We'll put them in there. Then obviously if we see them in the portal from one of the sites that scrapes, we'll add them to that as well.
I think it's already about 6 guys we have listed in that churn. So, might be, I know at least a couple more we can think of, but so let's keep it's, Mike put that together off of our information that, it's nice to be able to look at it and say, hey, it's a good look at here's what's leaving, and just so you can be aware. And I think a lot of times people see, so-and-so went, we're leaving all these guys in the portal. And sometimes like, okay, go look at their stats. Like we love them. I love them. They're great guys. I fully believe they're going to go be successful other places, but it's Finny made a great point. It's just, this isn't always the right place for you.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes a year or two to kind of figure that out, but I would prefer the honesty and know that, and then try to go play somewhere else than be given that fake carrot of, you'll play eventually. And all of a sudden you've burned 4 years and it's over.
Right. Yeah. I think it's much kinder to a guy. I mean, frankly, some guys, and again, you don't know what you don't know, but like if you're here a year and you haven't played and you're looking around, or you really got to ask yourself, like, am I going to beat this guy, this guy, this guy? You know, you should be able to make that determination on your own, but it's nice for them to have that honesty and say, hey, look, this is the reality.
Sets up a good place for them. And then also the pressure to win now is on. Like Finny knows that, and they know how much the ballpark costs and what the expectations are. So on the coaching side of it too, we have to continue to look for ways to get better and add more bats, more arms, whatever it is. And it's kind of a byproduct, but it goes both ways. So we'll keep an eye on it, and obviously keep that site updated. You do need a Monarchs Plus subscription to see it. It's a $12 a month one to be able to access it. But it will be there for you, and you won't have to track down 9,000 social media posts to figure out who's going where.
Or send me messages that I ignore because I don't know how to check messages as well.
Yes. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for us. CB, anything left?
No, I mean, every year is, it happens. You wait for it forever, and then it happens so fast, even though it doesn't feel fast necessarily it's happening. But I mean, I love baseball. Like I said, I'm already thinking about the high school game, hopefully going to Wednesday, and hopefully going to some Pilots games this weekend. And I love sports, and I love baseball, and ODU is awesome. And I thoroughly enjoy doing this with you, Gary, even though I apparently don't ever let you talk. That's a problem that I have. I'm sorry.
Oh, you let me talk plenty. Less is more. Less is more. All right. Well, that'll do it for us. We'll see you all in about a month. Go Monarchs.
Go Monarchs.
Thank you.